morning. Welcome back, or welcome for the first time to Making the Most of School Meals, which is a series being presented by Maryland SNAP Ed. So, through this series, we are providing ideas for families who are receiving meals or maybe haven't yet gone out to pick up their meals for the first time through the school food service or other agencies that are providing free meals to any child 18 and under in the state of Maryland. Some ideas for making the most of those. So those meals are, nutritious. They follow new nutrition guidelines, but we recognize that some of those items in those meals might not be eaten with a meal, and they might be accumulating in your fridge. And you really have an opportunity to stretch those even further to feed your kids by incorporating some of those items into new recipes. So as we go along, please feel free to post your questions or comments in the chat. Also, we would love to know who's joining us and from where. So type in, if you're in Maryland, your county and just your county. If you're joining us from elsewhere, type in your city and state, because we just want to know who is out there. So today we are featuring milk, probably one of the most iconic school meal items, and some ways that you can use milk in additional recipes other than serving it with the intended meal. We have two guests with us today that I will introduce from different parts of Maryland, and we're going to get started introducing them so that we can find out a little bit about meal service in their county. So first, I'm going to introduce Pam Hossamer, who is a SNAP Ed nutrition educator in Montgomery County, Maryland, and will be doing our cooking for us today. So good morning, Pam, and can you tell us a little bit about meal distribution in Montgomery County, Maryland?
Good morning, Chrisette, and good morning, everyone. The Montgomery County Public Schools is providing curbside meal service at 89 school and community sites. Breakfast and lunch meals will be provided between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Wednesday is a double meals for the Wednesday and Thursday meals. And on Friday, which is a triple meal service to help address meals for students over the weekend. There is no meal service pickup on Thursday. Meals are distributed to all youth 18 and under. MCPS students over 18 will need to provide a student ID to pick up a meal. Student names are required for meal pickup. All sites are outside and ask that you wear a face mask and practice physical and social distancing. And in Montgomery County, we also have weekend bag distribution. The locations are at Women Who Care Ministries weekend meal distribution is at 19 school and community sites. They distribute the meal bags on Friday from 11 to 1. And if schools are closed on Friday, they also distribute on Thursday. Manna Food Center weekend bags, locations at 10 school sites, and the Friday distribution is also 11 to 1. If schools are closed on Fridays, the meals are distributed on Thursdays.
Okay, great. Thank you for all that information. We are going to post some information in the chat. So if you're in Montgomery County, Maryland, that you have access to that information. Schools and partnering agencies are doing a ton of work to fill the need for food right now for students who are missing meals in school and for families who are just struggling, whether it's financially, whether it's the time crunch. There's just a lot to manage in our lives right now. And please take advantage of these resources. I also want to underscore that it's different in every county. So make sure that you're checking your school district's information. Go to your school district's webpage for information about what's happening on your county. So Pam, you are going to be making a kid favorite homemade mac and cheese using milk today. So I think you're going to do our first step before we introduce our other guest.
I am. I'm going to start cooking our batch of mac and cheese. So the first thing we always do before cooking is to wash our hands and make sure our work area is clean. I've already done that, so I will begin. Today, our ingredients will be whole wheat pasta, a package of frozen chopped broccoli, which I've already pre-cooked, butter, flour, non-fat milk, and 2 cups of cheddar cheese. So right now we're going to put the mac and cheese into the water that I've already started boiling, and we're gonna get that cooking while we have our next guest.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Pam, again for that information and getting us started. So while that macaroni cooks, we're going to introduce our next guest, who is Brenda Ream. We are in the presence of greatness today here, folks. We have a real live cafeteria manager who has been doing heroic work since last March to make sure that students across the state and in particular in Cecil County are receiving meals. So Brenda, if you could unmute yourself so we can meet you. So Brenda's at Gilpin Manor Elementary School in Cecil County. So Brenda, would you mind sharing with us what's been going on with meal distribution in Cecil County?
Hi, Clarissa. Thank you for that lovely introduction. I am actually here with my boss today. This is Jess Sadzina. So we just wanted to let you know a little bit about how meal distribution is taking place in Cecil County. We offer meal distribution pickup every Wednesday from 10 to 12 at every one of our school sites. We give out 5 days worth of breakfast and 5 days worth of lunch at each pickup. We also have 6 different buses that go out to several different neighborhoods throughout the county. I do believe we're going to go ahead and post a copy of that schedule in the comments in case you're looking for an area near you because you can't get out to one of those sites. If you're still looking to find some information and you're just not sure, you can go on to our website, and that will also tell you about the different locations as well as the bus schedule, and that'll also be in the comments. And last but not least, if you're still having trouble, you can just pick up the phone and call the main office, and they would be glad to help you out and answer any of those questions. So behind me, we do have a setup of what 5 days worth of meals look like. So I'm going to pick the camera up and just kind of show you. So with the meals, you're going to get 5 breakfasts and you're going to get 5 lunch. That should cover your student through the week, which includes fruits, vegetables, lunches, and breakfast items as well.
So I see there some of the items that we've featured in our Make the Most series. I saw some baby carrots. We did a roasted vegetables with them. We're featuring milk today. I also noted you have like a whole baked potato there for families to use. So again, while these are included as part of a meal, these are also ingredients that if they're not eaten at the exact moment that that lunch is served, that you can use in other ways to feed your kids. I think you mentioned sweet potatoes or something else that were coming in whole form.
Yes, we are handing out sweet potatoes here at Gilpin next week. With our order last week, we handed out whole potatoes. I would like to note, each school chooses their menu. So depending on where you go, your menu may change, but this is an example of just some of the items that we serve. There's several more options. I know next week we're doing sausage gravy. So there's definitely different choices. They get 5 days worth of white milk and 5 days worth of chocolate milk. So as you're featuring today, juices.
Great.
And if I can add to it too, this is pretty consistent with what you see across the county. One thing that we've really been proud of, like Brenda, as well as many of our other managers, is they've really been trying to become more creative. And, some of the masks, like, hey, can we start serving some whole potatoes and sweet potatoes and stuff like that? And it's really been exciting to see, because they want to do really exciting things for the community, get them out and try this different food. So throughout different schools, you can see all these kind of wonderful items.
Wonderful. We did have a question in the chat whether you guys have been thinking in your distribution about picking foods based on shelf life, if they last longer, or if it's, if you're if that's part of your formula, how all those decisions are.
I can actually answer that too. We do a lot of the things that we do serve. There's a shelf life involved. So we try to mix in some fresh as well as some, prepackaged items. We try to offer both. But those are definitely considerations that are taken into account when they are planning out the menu.
Wonderful.
And I would add that with our meals, a lot of the frozen meals, if you pop them in your freezer, you're going to hold them until you're ready to serve them. So the frozen pizza, fish, most of our entrees we do freeze before we send. Our fruits and vegetables typically tend to be more on the fresh side, but anything frozen you can pop in your freezer and hold on to that for later.
A great point. Yeah, we did a little social media promotion of school meals, and one of the things we said was times are tough, school meals are easy. So we really, really want folks to take advantage of this. There are no income eligibility requirements. I know that the school staff want to see families taking advantage of this resource. It's just a incredibly important resource right now for families across the board. So we just couldn't be more grateful for the work that you all have been doing and for joining us today. So we're going to transition back to Pam, but I just want to thank you again and encourage everyone to use the information that we're going to post in the chat. If you're in Cecil County, to go get a school meal next Wednesday, get a bag's worth, and anything else you want our viewers to know?
I would just add two more things. Number one, just remember the meals are available for anyone 18 and under. You just need to show up to the school closest to where you live or work during that time frame on Wednesday. Let us know how many kids you have and we'll pack it right up for you. And one final thing that I would like to note, especially since we're talking about milk, I cannot count the amount of people that have actually come up to me and told me the excitement that their kids get just from getting like that little carton of chocolate milk. It kind of gives them a sense of normalcy and brings back, they're used to that from school. So when they're eating their lunch or their breakfast at home, they get excited over those little things. So, definitely try the school meals. It definitely helps the budget too and makes your kids excited.
That's wonderful.
Have a great day.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think that sense of normalcy is something we could all use. And if it comes in a little carton, take it where you can get it. So that's wonderful. I think that's a really great point. So thank you guys so much. I know Brenda has meals to serve, so we will let her sign off. And thank you, Jeff, for joining us as well. Before we go back to Pam, I do just want to underscore for folks, well, welcome folks again who have just joined us. If you are just joining us, please put your location in the chat because we'd like to know where you're joining us from, and also post comments and questions. We'll respond to them as we're able. The other thing is I always like to underscore is the financial value to your family of these meals. If you were to pay full price, it would be somewhere in the ballpark of $3, but they're available to any child 18 and under right now. So, 10 meals a week per child, breakfast and lunch 5 days a week is $30 in your pocket. And that is money you can spend on other healthy meals for your family. In some districts are able to provide up to 21 meals a week if they're doing 3 meals a day for 7 days a week. So really consider taking advantage of this resource and then stretch those ingredients into other food that your kids will love. So with that, let's head back to Miss Pam and talk about what's going on in her kitchen using milk. Oh, we need to unmute you, Pam.
Okay, hold on. There we go. All right.
Never done that before.
All right. So, are we showing my screen for the stove?
We can do that. We can make sure everybody sees your cooking setup so that we can get
say, I have the noodles are cooking here, and this is a 16-ounce box. Look. A 16-ounce box of noodles. So you can use any shape or size of noodles that you want, pasta for this. And now we're going to move on to make the cheese sauce that goes on the mac and cheese. I have the broccoli. It's already pre-cooked here. And I just steamed this in the microwave. This was frozen broccoli. But you can also use fresh broccoli if you want to, totally up to you. So we're going to get started.
And we talked yesterday about options for cooking the broccoli. You steamed it in the microwave. You could also, toss it in with the macaroni as it's cooking. Just be mindful that that's going to cool the water down a little and take a little longer for it to get back to boiling. But the point is yeah, you get it cooked. So there's lots of ways to skin.
However you want to do it. Yeah, absolutely. Now I'm going to first take the 1 tablespoon of butter and put that in my pan and melt that. Move my broccoli out of the way.
While that's melting, I just want to recognize Shondell. Thank you for sharing that the chocolate milk she throws in the freezer and makes some frosties. What a great idea. And we're actually in our demo next week, we're going to be, our feature ingredient is oats. I'll talk about that at the end, but the recipe will also have the option of making use of the chocolate milk from school milks. So thanks, Shondell, for that comment.
I'm going to melt the butter here. And then I have 2 tablespoons of flour that I'm mixing in here also. And I'm going to mix it in slowly so it doesn't get lumpy. It's really, it's very hard to get the lumps out once they start forming. So you want to make sure that you make a nice smooth sauce with your butter and your flour. Okay.
And this will thicken the sauce a little. I love this recipe because we're taking a kid favorite and making it with whole grain pasta, a very small amount of butter, but then that milk that we have from school meals, and then adding the broccoli. So we've got 3 food groups and a lot of nutrition packed into a kid favorite.
Right, and then we have 2 cups of low-fat or non-fat milk that you add slowly so that you can also mix it up. I'm going to try using a whisk as we go on. But of course you can use a fork as well. Whatever you have handy is always good, just to make sure that you get all the lumps worked out of the sauce. And keep cooking. All right. Yeah, it's looking good. So you guys, you can see it's very smooth if you add everything just a little bit at a time, even though that seems a little bit time consuming.
And that mixing is like the star job for my kids in the kitchen. That that's like the real chef job. And my kids are young; they're 2.5 and 4.5. But I do let them, safely cook at the stove. Teach them about safety and man, while stirring might seem like a chore to me, it's something that they just love to do because they feel like a real chef.
Well, and I have fond memories of when I was a child stirring at the stove as well. And the other thing is, no child, especially smaller kids, are going to stand there for 2 hours. So, it's just usually a few minutes that you have to stand there, have them stirred a couple times, and they're good to go. But they get very invested with the food when they participate like that.
Absolutely. And just for a note, the recipe calls for 2 cups of milk, right? And so
Yeah.
that would be 2 cartons of school milk if you were using it.
Right, and then we're going to add this cheese, and I have 2 cups of grated cheese here. This also we're going. Oops, guess I should face the camera. This also we are going to mix in a little bit at a time so it can melt. Now you can buy pre-shredded cheese at the store in a package that's 2 cups, or you could use a box grater like this to grate your own cheese. It's a little more economical to buy a big chunk of cheese and then grate it yourself, but whatever works best is always a good idea, because the main thing is you want to be eating healthy and using up the school milk and making this delicious mac and cheese recipe.
Absolutely.
So
While we're working on that, So we're adding broccoli to this recipe. I'm wondering if anybody else watching has any things that they mix in to macaroni and cheese to add some nutrition. So you can post that in the comments if there's something else that you like to add to kind of boost your mac and cheese, make it a more complete meal, more food groups, more nutrients. Tina shares butternut squash. And that's a great one because it's the same color as the cheese. So if you've got picky kids, they might not even know what's in there. Not that we want to hide fruits and vegetables. We want kids to learn to enjoy eating them. But that's one thing. Cauliflower we've got from Eastern Shore. Add some bacon. Yeah, little bacon as a little flavor enhancer. Green peas, butternut squash and peas. All right. Edamame. I love that.
Krista, you can also take the little baby carrots from the lunch and either serve them on the side, or you can have your kids cut them with a little plastic knife into little pieces and then sprinkle that into your mac and cheese as well.
Great. I love that. Dana shares finely grated chopped carrots and celery. I've also added spinach instead of broccoli. That's good. And spinach just wilts so fast. It's done in an instant.
Okay, I think our sauce is done. My timer just went off, so my macaroni, it should be done as well. Oops, it looks totally perfect. Let me drain the macaroni and get back with you in 1 second.
Okay. So while she's doing that, welcome again to anybody who has just joined us. This is Make the Most of School Meals. We're talking about ways to stretch the foods that are coming with your school meals so that you can use them in other recipes. If they're left over, you can use them in other recipes to feed your kids. So one more question while Pam works on draining the broccoli. Are you more likely to make homemade mac and cheese after watching Pam demonstrate this recipe? She's got her cheese sauce made. It's ready to mix. So share in the chat if you're inspired to make this, or if you've made it before and are reminded how easy it is to make again, or if you've never made it, if you're going to make it for the first time. So we have some more comments of stuff that folks like to use as mix-ins. We've got a medley of cauliflower, carrots, and broccoli. Add canned tuna to make it an entree. Thank you for sharing these tips. So, all right, looks like Pam is back from draining her macaroni and ready to combine these ingredients. And this makes I made this for my family, and it makes a huge amount. So it really could be served as a main dish, like I said, because it has 3 food groups. You could add some protein on the side or mixed in. So wonderful.
Right, so we are going to add our broccoli in here to the mac and cheese. Stir that up and then pour our delicious cheese sauce right over that. It's so incredibly simple, but it's so delicious.
Absolutely. The other thing you could do to personalize this is add spices. Black pepper is such a good match with mac and cheese. A little paprika. Lots of ways. Oh, chili powder. Lynn Mateva just contributed.
Okay, so here we go. There we have it.
Beautiful. I agree, Marcia. It does look fabulous.
And I'm going to put some in a bowl. And as soon as we finish this Facebook Live, I'm going to eat it.
Wonderful. It looks fantastic. Thank you so much, Pam. I think this is a great way to use milks from your school meals, a great way to take a kid favorite and add some nutrition with the whole grain pasta and the broccoli. And also another, as always, good opportunity to get your kids involved in the kitchen, whether it's breaking apart broccoli stems, stirring that sauce, and getting them interested in cooking. So wonderful. I want to let everyone know that we will be continuing this series through February. We're going to continue to link to school meal ingredients. However, we're also going to kind of expand our range to ideas for using common pantry staples. So things like rice and oats and canned beans and tomatoes, things that are inexpensive, that are available through food assistance sites if you're accessing those, but that can sometimes sit in your pantry and not be terribly inspiring. But we're going to have lots of different ideas for things you can do with those ingredients, and that's going to start next week. That series will be same time, same place, 11 a.m. on Thursdays for our Cooking 5 Ways series, and we're going to start with oats, and it will also feature a good use for chocolate milks that might be coming in your school meals. So thanks again to Pam, thanks to Brenda and Jeff from Cecil County, and we're going to sign off. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone.